Okay. So very soon, Ram Navami is approaching. So I thought something related to Ramayana we will speak today. Shri Ramam Dasharathatmajam Apraneyam Sitapatim Raghukulan Mayaratnadipam Ajanubahu Aravindadalayaksham Nishataravinashakaram Namami. So this prayer which I recited just now, the prayer by Valmiki only, famous one. Shri Ramam. Yeah. Shri Ramam Dasharathatmajam Aprameyam. What is the meaning of this? Lord Ramachandra, the son of Dasharatha, Aprameyam, his power is limitless. As once Maricha described his own experience of Lord Rama, he said his army is like ocean and his arrows are like his arrows are like the waves of the ocean coming in that army. And Lord Rama's shoulders are like the whirlpool in an ocean. He said, as mighty as that. And single-handedly, in a place called Janasthan in Nasik, he destroyed 14,000 soldiers along with their two leaders, Kara and Dushan. So Hanuman presented it to Ravana. When Ravana ridiculed Rama, saying that he is a forest dweller living alone in the forest, what can he do to me? When Ravana said that, at that time Hanuman presented the power of Rama. Shri Ramam Dasharathatmajam Aprameyam Sitapatim. He is actually the husband of goddess of fortune, like Sita Mata. The Lord is always accompanied by his internal potency, just like the moon and the moonlight. The moon is accompanied by the soothing moonlight, and she is the universal mother who gives shelter and protection and spiritual inspiration for all the millions of jivas, including Hanuman, and engages them in Lord's service. Raghukula Anmaya Ratna Deepam. Lord Rama is called as a Raghukula Tilakam, which means in our face the most prominent thing is a tilak. Similarly, in Raghava dynasty, which is a Surya Vamsh, Lord Rama is like a tilakam. He is like a beautiful tilak, enhancing the beauty of the whole lineage of the Kshatriyas. You see, Lord Krishna appears in Chandra Vamsh, Lord Rama appears in Surya Vamsh. And Krishna appears in the midnight, and Lord Rama appears in the daylight. Lord Krishna appears in the jail of Kamsa. Lord Rama appears in the palace. Lord Krishna appears in Mathura and is transported to Nanda Gokulam. From there, he goes to later on to Dwaraka to rule, and he doesn't stay in one place. Lord Krishna keeps moving. Whereas Lord Rama, when he took up the rule after Pattabhishek, he just remained in one place, Ayodhya, for long, thousands and thousands of years. He ruled the world, which is glorified as Ramarajya. And Lord Krishna stands in a threefold bending form. Lord Rama stands erect. Lord Krishna is known for his Madhuri Leela. Lord Rama is known for his Aishwarya Leela. Lord Krishna had 16,108 queens in Dwaraka, and he exhibited the greatest opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, living with so many of his queens. As we say, Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam. Lord is accompanied by Shata Sahasra means 100,000 Lakshmis in the spiritual world. Uh, so, uh, in order to establish the same truth, when Krishna came here, he had actually 7,108 queens of Dwaraka, and for each of them, he gave one palace, gave them very costly dresses and ornaments, and he expanded himself into as many as queens, and he lived with them. And, and Lord Narada was most amazed by seeing that sight of Lord Krishna's living in Dwaraka. On the other hand, Lord Rama takes a Ekapatni Vrata. He said, Sita is my only wife. So, in that point of view, Lord Rama is called Maryada Purushottam. Krishna is called Purna Purushottam. So, Krishna's activities cannot be imitated. If somebody tries to marry 16,000 wives, he will not be able to survive for a moment. He won't be able to maintain. Prabhupada says even one to maintain one wife, the man struggles in this world. But Lord Krishna is Purna Purushottam, exhibiting the opulence of God. Whereas Lord Rama teaches the humans what is the ideal code of conduct for humans. Once His Holiness Bhaktichara Swami Maharaj gave a lecture on Rama consciousness for gaining Krishna consciousness. Like that, he said. If you first human beings have to become Rama conscious, he said. If you're Ram conscious, then you will become an ideal human being. And after having become an ideal human being, if you study the personality of Krishna and his very, very wonderful Adbhuta activities, then you will become Krishna conscious, he said. So there is a lot of things to be learned from Lord Ram. And yes, it is a fact that Lord Ram is in great Aishwarya Bhava and all his devotees worship him reverentially. You see the picture, not only Hanuman is sitting at the feet of Ram, even Shatrughna is sitting at the feet of Sitaram, and Bharat and Lakshman and Bharat are on either side with folded palms. So everybody, this is the way they relate with him, with Ram, in very great reverential relationship. And in Krishna relationship, the relationship is totally different, which you all know. Nobody treats Krishna as God. They treat him in a very familiar and intimate fashion, playing with him, joking with him, and to such an extent that Krishna also loses the game sometimes and takes his friends on his shoulder, or he climbs on the shoulder of his friends. Such kind of relationship Krishna has. It's called Saushilya. But Lord Rama is also having some amount of Saushilya compared to Narayana. For example, in Ramayana it is glorified how he makes friendships with, the leader of Nishada, low class community people, the boatmen called Guha. He makes friendship with the Vanara Sena, making friendship with Sugriva. He makes friendship with Rakshasa Sena, making friendship with the head of the Rakshasas, our Vibhishana. So you will find Lord Rama also makes friendship. What is the meaning of Saushilya? Saushilya means when a great man makes friendship with a very little man, insignificant man in society, or somebody considered lower in cadre, without any reservation. If a man of higher stature comes and makes friendship with a man of lower stature, that is called Saushilyata. But some people nevertheless argue that yes, Rama came down from his status and made friendship, but he only made friendship with the leader of the people in that particular status. Like Vibhishan was leader also, and Sugriva was leader of Vanaras. Guha was leader of the boatmen. So Lord Rama makes only friendship with the leader. Why? Because the leader represents the whole race of those people. So he makes friendship with the leader. But Krishna makes friendship with anybody and everybody. His Saushilita is immeasurable. But amongst those associates of Lord Ram, Hanuman is one very dear associate. When we study about the personality of Godhead in the scriptures, Lord actually expands himself in various forms. Ramadimurtishu kala niyamena tishtan nanavataram akarod bhuvaneshu kintu. This verse says in Brahma Samhita, Ramadimurtishu kala niyamena tishtan means Lord expands as Rama. Adishu means many other forms also. The prominent forms are Rama and Narayana form of Krishna. So Narayana is called as Leela Purushottam, Krishna is called Purna Purushottam, and Ram is called Maryada Purushottam. These three are very prominent. And there are also other forms like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narsimha, and other forms also. So Lord comes in these forms. Why? He comes in this world to destroy the evil or vice and to establish the dharma and protect his devotees and perform very colorful leelas in the presence of his devotees, along with his devotees, and leave behind sweet, nectarian, colorful pastimes for all the people of the world to partake of and benefit from sharing those pastimes, meditating on those pastimes, entering into those pastimes through meditation and absorption, and ultimately get an opportunity to return back home, back to Godhead. That is actually the goal of Lord descending in this world, along with all his associates. So we should know that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Uh, at the same time, he also expands into other forms like Rama and Narayana and performs Leelas. So when we look at these forms, we should know that in Tattva, uh, they are same like Krishna only, Narayana or Rama, because the same person only expands himself in these forms. And sometimes the expansions are in full-blown form in Tattva, and some of them are partial expansions. Like Prabhupada talks about Rishabhadeva. Rishabhadeva is also expansion of the Lord. And he is also saying that Mayi Vasudevi, Pritirna Yavat Mayi Vasudevi, he says in the fifth canto. Prithu Maharaj is also an expansion. But Prithu Maharaj is a partial expansion. And Rishabhadev is even more greater, greater expansion, full-blown expansion of the Lord. At the same time, these three, Rama and Narayana, they are considered 100% in Tattva, full-blown expansion of Lord Krishna. Nevertheless, in rasas, in mood, it's different. Rama has a different mood, Krishna has a different mood. Therefore, Lord relishes and delights in different rasas with different devotees and makes the whole world get an opportunity and access to his wonderful such pastimes and learn lessons. And today I was planning to focus exclusively on Hanuman, learning leadership tips from Hanuman's Lanka trip. One of his most prominent devotees, Hanuman. Because Ramayana is very vast, now in Ramayana, Hanuman plays a very important role. And because we are all devotees, we also want to become a proper devotee. We can learn from Hanuman how to become a nice devotee. Hanuman is known for Bhakti, Shakti, and Seva. You all know Hanuman carries a gada, like here you see him carrying a gada in the hand. That shows his, Shakti. And in this chest, when he breaks open the chest and shows Sitaram, that shows his bhakti. And he carries a mountain, Sanjivani mountain, for curing Lakshman who had fainted. That goes to show his seva. So there is Shakti, there is Bhakti, and there is Seva. All the three Hanuman exemplifies as a devotee. So with Shakti, what he does, Yatra yatra raghunatha kirtanam tatra tatra kritamastakанjalim bhashpavari paripurna lochanam marutim namataha rakshasantakam. It is said wherever there is Raghunath Kirtana, Kirtana the Supreme Lord is going on, you will find Hanuman there. Hanuman bows down his head and his eyes are decorated with tears of pure love, welling up in his eyes. And he is the great hero, Hanuman, who puts an end to all the Rakshasas and their nefarious activities of endeavoring to destroy the Brahminical culture. So Hanuman puts a full stop to their activities. And Rakshasantakam, And he is Hanuman. And he always carries the Gada with him. He has defeated many Rakshasas. One time when Hanuman had to save the life of Lakshman, he was asked to bring the Sanjeevani medicinal herb from the Himalayan range. So he was flying up in the sky. So when he was flying up, at that time, one Brahmana was calling Hanuman, please come, urgent. Come down, something important I want to tell you. Hanuman didn't like to get distracted, but because he was strongly invited and the Brahmana is inviting, he couldn't say no. So he came down. So when he came down, asked, what is the matter? Please tell me urgently. Brahmana said, why didn't you take some fruits from me? Hanuman said, that's all right, but I am in a hurry now. Okay, give me the fruits in a packet, I'll take it and I'll push off. Brahmana said, no, I want you to sit and eat peacefully. I am a host inviting you for eating. How can you do like this? Hanuman said, okay, I'll sit down. Please give it to me immediately. How can I give you fruits just now without you taking a bath? Kindly take a bath in the pond and then come and sit, then I'll give you. Hanuman said, okay. Immediately rushed to the pond to take a quick bath. He thought I'll just dip myself in water and come out and immediately take the fruits and fly off. So when he went to the pond and he entered the pond, suddenly a crocodile came and got hold of Hanuman to swallow him. And Hanuman had a valiant fight with the crocodile and he broke open the mouth of the crocodile. Guess what? The crocodile turned into a very big Rakshasa. And there was a terrible fight with Hanuman. Hanuman killed him. So Hanuman understood this is not a crocodile. This is a Rakshasa, demon. So then so much blood came and then Hanuman took a proper bath. And then he came out thinking that, oh, what kind of crocodile is this? But then as he turned around, that Brahmana laughed loudly, ha 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 ha. And then he said, he turned into a Rakshasa also. Then Hanuman had to fight with that fellow also. He was not a Brahmana, he was a pretender. He was wanting to get Hanuman and kill him because these two were henchmen of Ravana who actually wanted to deter the enthusiasm of Hanuman in bringing the medicine for Lakshman because they wanted to see Lakshman not awake. See, this is a way. This world is how much our Krishna conscious endeavors to become Krishna conscious and to work for the mission of the Lord can be thwarted by various inimical and asuric agents. We have to be always alert and watchful like Hanuman. And Hanuman had a very big fight with him also and killed that fellow also. And he took a bath and then he started flying up again. So in this way, he's a Rakshasantakam, which is Gada. He beats the Asuras and destroys them. And then when he went to Sanjeevani mountain, there he couldn't find the herb. And he was told by the Vaidyaji how it looks like. But the mountain herb was hiding itself inside. Because Ravana was a very cunning man and he had a lot of powers, influence upon many people. He had made the Sanjeevani mountain hide the Sanjeevani herb. Just imagine if we were in Hanuman's position, we will search for the herb everywhere and we couldn't get it. We will go to the doctor and say, I'm sorry, sir, I couldn't get it. But that was not what Hanuman did. Hanuman understood that something tricky, just like I found the Brahmana tricky. Here also something is happening. He cut the mountain from its base and then he picked it up and then started bringing it to Lanka. You have seen that beautiful picture of Hanuman flying. And then the Vaidyaji found out the medicine, Sanjeevani, and then he administered to Lakshman, and Lakshman got up. Everything went well. And then Hanuman thought, I have brought this mountain from Himalayas. It's not proper for us to take someone's property. I should put it back. So he again flew back to taking it and putting it in Himalayas back, never minding the arduous labor involved in picking up and bringing a mountain. Sometimes we see that we want to do a job. If the job is done, we immediately leave aside other things and proceed with our next job, not caring about others. Like if somebody took something from somebody, they used it. Once they have used it, the job is done, they forget it. But Hanuman thought, I have taken this from Himalayas and we have used it for Lakshman's purpose. Now I should give back this mountain back to Himalayas because from there only I took it. See how courteous Hanuman is. So in this way, this is his seva. So Shakti, Bhakti, and seva. That is Hanuman. And this Hanuman, he didn't act as the leader of the Vanaras. He was only one of the Vanaras in the army of Sugriva. But today we will see many lessons from this section of Ramayana. So here you find who is this sitting down on the ground? And that is the leader of all the Vanaras. That is Angada. Angada, being the son of Vali, was made the leader of the Vanaras. And he is sitting down, completely depressed, thinking that how will we cross this vast ocean? How are we going to locate Mother Sita? The drama and our leader Sugriva has sent us. It doesn't seem very hopeful. Like that, Angada was saying. A leader should never talk like that. If a leader becomes depressed, if a leader is not very hopeful, he should not even express it immediately outside. He may express it to his superiors and take guidance. But if a leader becomes hopeless, imagine if a leader says, oh, this is COVID period, everything is closed down, the whole world is in a gloom, I don't think we are going to do any preaching now. I think all our devotees are going to go to Maya. If somebody says like that, then nothing great can happen. But even if a leader feels so, he should not tell that. He should ask his superiors, is there any way we can do some preaching, we can do some activity? So they should actually always consult some superiors, consult others. And here when Angada sat down like this, all the monkeys put their gada down, like you see there. And they were also depressed. So leader is depressed and subordinate is depressed, everybody depressed. But Hanuman came forward here. Here he is telling Angada, actually, we need not worry. There are so many capable leaders in our group. You can ask who is willing to jump and find out Mother Sita and come back. Angada thought, oh, that's a good idea. We can ask. So then he gathered all the Vanaras and he asked them, is there anybody amongst you who is pretty confident? Some monkey said, this is totally 100 yojanas distance, but I can jump only 50 yojanas, which means I will jump and fall into the water. One monkey said. Another Vanara said, I can jump 60. Another said 70. Another said 80. Somebody said 90. But beyond 90, nobody came forward. Then Jambavan came forward. Then Jambavan said, so Jambavan actually said, he was the oldest, but he's not a Vanara. You all know. He's a bear. He said, long before, when I was young, hale and healthy, I have circumambulated the Himalayan Meru Parvat 1,000 times and then I can come down. Similarly, when Garuda flies in the sky, I can circumambulate him 1,000 times and come back. I have done such great feats. Then all the monkeys clapped their hands. Wonderful, wonderful, great, marvelous act, they said. He said, that is true, but now I have become an old man. That doesn't mean right now I cannot make an effort to jump. I can jump, find out Sita. But somehow today I feel that I should give chance for my younger team men. Because if a senior man all the time does great things in life and everybody keeps clapping hands for him, there is no fun in it. We also should empower those who are younger one, he said. So and then he told Angada, in our group, there is one very powerful Vanara whom you have not taken into account. The only problem is he doesn't remember his prowess unless he is reminded, he said. And who is that? That is Hanuman. So then he started glorifying Hanuman. So let us see the further lesson. The first lesson I told you, don't be depressed, be confident. If there is no, one way is not working, another way may work. Look for alternatives in life. Yeah. A leader should not ask to accomplish the task himself alone. He should give chance to other members also. So this was told by Jambavan to Angada. Angada himself said, I can jump 100 yojanas. I can try. And then Angada said, once I jump there, I have to find out whether I can come back. My legs may pain, I don't know whether I can come back. At that time, Jamban said, you are the leader of the army. And if you go to that side and then you get lost, the whole army will be scattered without your leadership. So leader should not try to do everything all alone, but he should know the art of delegating to other members, like the Jamban said. Uh, then Angada accepted. Then he asked, who can do it? Mm. So amongst the members of the team, Jamban was the oldest fellow. Therefore, Angada is asking, Jamban, sir, you being the oldest, you are Vayo Vriddha and Jnana Vriddha. You are older in age and more mature than all of us here in the army put together. You have been around for a long time. So therefore, even in our communities, sometimes people who have been around for 15 years, 20 years, there are people, they might have seen the thick and thin of the community, and they may be very wise, but they may not speak up. They may be silent. If one gives opportunity for them to speak, they can tell about the past successes and failures and what we could do, what is better to avoid, and things like that. One should take advantage. Yeah. So yeah, as you grow older, give chance for the younger ones to exhibit their prowess. That's what Jamban said, and he followed that principle also. So yeah, empower by encouragement. So here you see Jambavan is empowering Hanuman by praising Hanuman's qualities, and see Hanuman's size is increasing now by hearing those qualities. In the same manner, devotees' power increases when they are appreciated. The more we genuinely, honestly, multiple Vaishnavas appreciate a devotee as someone capable, someone confident, somebody who is powerful, uh, that encouragement empowers them and they really do wonderful services subsequently. On the other hand, being chronically fault-finding and critical, criticizing either our peers or our juniors or our leaders, that actually disempowers them and weakens their determination and discourages them. When word gets around, then there is an atmosphere of negativity, which happens sometimes in every community. One pocket of such criticisms may happen, and we should try to dissolve it and not let it go on and on for a long time. And we should oppose it by glorification. And strengthen and encourage seniors, equals, juniors, everybody by appreciation and glorification. So here, when Hanuman, after hearing this, Hanuman increased his size. It became very huge, tall from earth to sky. And all the Vanaras became confident. See, earlier the Gada was down, now the Gada is up now. They are very confident. Now we are going to really find out Sita. And then Hanuman, in order to give them even more confidence, he told them, my dear friends, now I'll fly to Lanka. And if I don't find Sita, I will dig the whole Lanka and bring it back to our leader, Sugriva. Don't worry. The whole city of Lanka, I'll bring it, he said. All the monkeys, wow, everybody clapped hands. Wonderful. And then some monkeys said, Hanuman, your boastful words are very nice, but you have to do and show. That is also important. Therefore, we have decided we will all stand on one leg only till you come back. And please do not forget that we are taking the austerity of standing on one leg. Therefore, you should swiftly return back without delay, they said. And then Hanuman agreed. Hanuman said, I will keep you all in mind. I will do that. So in the same manner, sometimes when we assign a service to some leader and encourage him, sometimes the leaders may float in their success and not think of the possible, obstacles that may come our way, or they may not be knowing the limitations. Sometimes people entering into a particular role, they sometimes think I am going to do a miracle or something like that. Being confident on one hand, one should be very realistic about the shortcomings also. And only then one will be able to face the obstacles with sobriety, rather than crumble down when obstacles come our way. Because we can't expect life to be a bed of roses, everything to be like cakewalk. One has to be prepared. Therefore, the other monkeys warned Hanuman that not just both, you do and show us, then we will appreciate. Now, Hanuman climbed up on the top of the Mahendra Parvat. So before making that great jump, um, Hanuman offered a prayer to his, seeking good wishes before starting a project. That is Hanuman. So when we are chosen for executing the mission of the Lord, we should first apply blessings and then face obstacles. Like Hanuman is climbing up on the top of the Parvat mountain. And the Parvat, he folded his palms. First remembered his father Vayu, prayed to him. Then he remembered his Guru Surya, prayed for his blessings. Then he prayed to Lord Rama, Lord of his life. uh, and he prayed. And what happens when we pray? It is said prayer is the difference between our ability and God's ability. It is said. The difference is the prayer. So when we combine the prayer with our ability, then we can do miracles because God can do miracles. When He blesses our efforts, He is pleased with our efforts. God and Guru and great Vaishnavas, they can bless us. So one should know the art of praying. You'll find Srila Prabhupada prayed to Advaitacharya Prabhu uh, before leaving for America. Isn't it? You will see that Advaitacharya Prabhu himself prayed and brought Lord Chaitanya. He said, I cannot do alone preaching and making devotees. So he brought Lord Chaitanya to this world. And similarly, Kaviraj Goswami, before writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he went to the Radha Govind temple, prayed to Radha Govind Dev and took blessings and permission from all the Vaishnavas before putting the literature, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we can give you many, many examples like this, where somebody offered a prayer and gained a lot of empowerment and strength and could do wonders. In their life, Hanuman did that also. You see here, Hanuman praying. Oh, the sound is coming?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear. Yeah.
You saw Hanuman, how he took the great leap. Actually, in the Ramayana, it is said when Hanuman took that leap, it is said that he is like the Ramaban, it is said. Why Ramaban? When Lord Rama places an arrow in his bow and like that he sends it. Like that Hanuman jumped up, it is said. And it is very meaningful because Hanuman acted as a perfect instrument in Lord Rama's hands. If you ask Hanuman, who are you? He will say, I am Ramadut. What are you doing? He'll say, I am doing Ram's work. How do you do it? I will do it with great endeavor. I will do hard work. I will do smart work. I will do quality work. I'll put my heart and intelligence and soul and everything that is in my disposal. And what will you do with the fruits of your work? Hanuman will say, I will hand it over to Ram. Because Lord Rama is my Lord of my life. And he gave me the brain, he gave me the Shakti, he gave me the Buddhi. So this is Hanuman's mood, which all devotees should adopt. If anybody asks us, who are you? We should say, I'm Krishna Das or Krishna Dasi. And then what do? I only do the work that my Guru and Krishna wants me to do. I will not do anything that will displease them. But how will you do the work? I will do it with diligence, with intelligence, with sincerity, devotion, commitment, and everything. What will you do with the fruits of your work? Oh, I will offer it all back to Krishna because without his, he says, Balam Balavatam Chaham Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi. So it was only by his grace I could do it. So all glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, as we say. So we are giving it to Guru, we are giving it to Gauranga and to assemble devotees. And one doesn't take any credit for oneself. So that was the mood of Hanuman also. So here the lesson is given. Don't start anything without the blessing of great souls. Hanuman offering obeisances to all these great personalities. Now he is taking the great leap and flying in the Akash Marg. At that time, Vayu saw that, oh, my son is flying now. The sun is hot. So let me send some cooling air. So he sent some cooling air to make him feel soothing effect. And Hanuman entered into clouds, came out of clouds again, like that. In that way, he was flying. And he didn't feel he became an ideal instrument in Lord's hands. As I told you, he sprang into the air like an arrow and shot from the bow of Lord Rama. Yeah. So as he was flying, he came across the Mainaka mountain, who welcomed him, a golden mountain. The mountain said, Hanuman, you are doing a great service to Lord. Why didn't you relax for a while? You always are very hardworking. See, somebody tells us like this, oh, Prabhu, you are such a hardworking devotee. Why didn't you relax? We also feel, yeah, how do you understand me? Huh? How do you understand that I am so hardworking? Yes, I am a little tired now. Can I relax? And we may relax. Uh, but Hanuman said, this is no time for comfort. Uh, he said, until the work is accomplished, I can't relax now. At the same time, I should not offend this person who is welcoming me. So he just touched the mountain and said, thank you for offering me this facility, but I will come at another time and relax very comfortably on your mountain. So, because comfort should not dampen our efforts to accomplish the goal of our mission. So Lord Rama's mission cannot wait, and one should not go in a mood of relaxing. So in Mayapur, Prabhupada was approached by His Holiness Tamalakshmi Maharaj, along with some other sannyasis who had come especially to meet Prabhupada for one thing. They wanted to ask Prabhupada, some of your disciples are asking, can they retire now and come and stay in Mayapur and spend the rest of their lives? So Prabhupada understood the mood for which they're coming. And in the morning lecture itself, Prabhupada said, he said, I want all my devotees to travel all over the world and preach. And he said, and Prabhupada said, even I am also preaching, traveling across the globe. And he said, the Vaishnava should give his sweat and toil in preaching everywhere. And when the Vaishnava gets very, very old and invalid, then one can come to Dham and just stay in the Dham and just chant Hare Krishna, which is the only thing you can do at that time, when body falls apart. Just chant and leave your body. And then Prabhupada said, as far as I am concerned, I don't think I am young yet. I'm enough old now. Prabhupada said, I'm not yet old. Therefore, I am traveling and preaching. When Tamakshi Maharaj heard it, all devotees are looking at each other. Prabhupada says, he is not old. What about us? We are all just 25, 26 years old. And Prabhupada is already 70 plus. He's saying he is not old. Then they didn't even propose to Prabhupada. They all decided among themselves, now go back out of Mayapur, go for preaching. So therefore, we should never make a plan for a comfortable life. We should always make plans for missionary life. The time is short, goal is yet to be achieved. Never accept comfort, yeah. And as he proceeded, this is another demon. Demoness called Surasa, who opened her mouth and said, hey, monkey, who are you going ahead? No one goes to Lanka without first entering my mouth, she said. Hanuman told her, please understand my situation. He clarified his goals to her. Because by clarifying our goal to others in a humble mood, they may understand us and their heart may become softer. Like, so he explained to her, you see, I am on a mission to help Ram find out Sita. Please allow me to go. I will go to Lanka, find Sita, give the information to Ram and come back to you. And then you can do what you wish. So she said, nobody goes to Lanka in the first place without entering my mouth, she said. But then Hanuman said, if I enter your mouth, then you will swallow me, kill me, then how will I get information on Sita? She said, yes, that's the point. Because my goal is not to let anyone go to Ravana's abode. On behalf of Ravana, I am guarding this place, she said. Therefore, you monkey, your destiny is to be eaten by me, that's all. Like that she said. Then Hanuman became really, now he thought, I can't be humble anymore with this demoness. So Hanuman grew in size to show who he is. 10 yojanas he grew. And she opened her mouth 20 yojanas. Hanuman grew up 30 yojanas. She grew her mouth 40 yojanas. And this competition was going on between the two. Both were becoming, he was becoming bigger and bigger, and she was opening her mouth wider and wider, bigger and bigger, and was wondering, how long is this ego game going to go? So therefore Hanuman understood, this is no use. My work is not happening. And this is experience of all of us. When we argue with the devotee, why are you not doing this service? And he gives argument, I give argument. Both people are presenting their ego and the work doesn't happen. That's the problem. So we have to know, even if a devotee didn't do the job as per promise, we can go and give a pat on the devotee and say, Prabhu, other than you, who can do this work? You are the most talented, you are the most skilled, you have done in the past also. So many people are praising you for that. And I have nobody else to do other than you. Please, if you can kindly show me your talent, I can only clap hands if you can do this, do this. Then they will say, don't worry, move aside, I will do it. So generally in this world, we have to know how to deal with ego. We have to circumvent the ego of people. So Hanuman understood. And immediately he became short, like only 2 inches high. And he jumped into her mouth and jumped outside. And by the time she closed, the Surasa is actually a snake, big snake. When she closed her mouth, by the time Hanuman was out, Hanuman said, hey, condition is over. You told me I should go in your mouth. I have gone inside the mouth and come. And she laughed and said, hey, monkey, you are very smart. Now I cannot hold you here. Now I give you permission to proceed. So he proceeded ahead, like you will see now. Yeah. You see how intelligent Hanuman. So we also, when we are put in such situations, we should know it's better for us to become small, which means become humble. Like, when two hands come, when the sounds come. When one hand comes to make sound, another hand goes away. And there is no sound. So one after the two should become humble. And humbly solving problems is easy. And you will see our Lord is Krishna, who is a playful Lord, you see. When Indra shows his ego, Krishna playfully lifts the Govardhan hill. You see? And then he thwarts his plan without even cursing him, criticizing him, yelling at him. Why should we waste our energy with somebody who is wasting his energy? We don't have to waste our energy, which is meant for Guru and Krishna service. We can, Krishna played a playful game, Hanuman, and then he went in and came out in a tiny fashion. Similarly, you'll find when Kali Nag was full of ego with thousands of hoods, Krishna made a playful attempt of, dancing on him and subduing him very easily. So Krishna is a very interesting Lord, you see, sportive Lord. He tackles the ego of other fellows very smoothly, very nicely. So as devotees, we also should, because the ego involves a lot of energy. When two people are hurting each other with ego, we should not allow that energy to get expended unnecessarily. Rather, we should find to combine with the people's energy and then move it in a forward direction, fulfilling the mission of the Lord. Therefore, Hanuman became very dear to Lord Ram because of his intelligence in every situation. Lord Ram openly said that to Lakshman. This Hanuman is so intelligent, he knows exactly how to act in every situation. This was another demoness who was actually capturing the shadow of Hanuman and was not letting Hanuman progress ahead. Hanuman was wondering, who is that? I am trying to fly and somebody is catching my shadow. And he found this demoness. Of course, he had to enter the mouth of this demon also. But he entered and he tore open the demon's heart and came out flying successfully. Which means actually, there are so many demoniac forces in this world. One should never be let down by them. One should never be put off in our enthusiasm by them. We should never, like we say, the dogs may bark and the caravan goes on. Others may be insecure or envious, but our endeavor should not be stopped. Like, when one time the elephant was walking on this side, and this side one dog was barking on the other side of the river. Bah, 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 looking at the elephant because he was feeling insecure. I am very small and this fellow is very big. That was his problem. What can elephant do? Do you think elephant can become small like this dog? So, and the elephant was silently walking, just nodding his head very peacefully. And dog was also walking like this. Then there was a bridge. So elephant crossed the bridge and had to come to this side. When he was coming here, the dog became afraid. Hey, this big creature has come now, this side, on my side. So he started running away and turning behind and bow, 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 like that. He was barking and going ahead, the dog. So elephant understood, this fellow is afraid of me also and is envious of me also. He understood. But elephant didn't care a fig. He just went on with his program of going ahead. Same way, devotees also, you will see that there are going to be some people who will always be critical. They will criticize for anything. If you very humbly speak in a class, they will say, he's too timid, they will say. And if you very boldly speak, they will say, hey, he is too arrogant, they will say. then I don't know what they want us to be. They actually they want some excuse to criticize. So we should not too much become bogged down by such people. Uh, we should tear up on such problems and come out and fly freely, uh, moving ahead with our plans. And in order for us to do this, we should learn the art of ignoring uh, people who are uselessly critical. On the other hand, we should take the words of wise devotees seriously who are giving us feedback. That feedback is given with the desire to improve us, with the desire to benefit us. They are our well wishers. So, well wishers' input should be taken, but critical people's criticism should be ignored. That's the lesson we learn. Yeah, despite all the struggles of flying so far, when Hanuman is landing in Lanka, his service was never tiring. Then it is performed in right consciousness for the pleasure of the Lord. Amazing, no? You see, sometimes service is delightful. It is said if you render seva with the right attitude for months together, years together, you don't have to work even for a day, it is said, because you are not working. Work becomes a play. uh, Work becomes fun for a devotee who is serving with faithful consciousness, like Hanuman. Hanuman had such admiration and respect for Lord Rama, and because of which the service became untiring and delightful, even though he did a lot of hard work putting certain toil. Mm. So when we are in mission of Lord Chaitanya, mission of Srila Prabhupada, there are devotees who work very hard distributing books, doing Harinam, preaching, expanding, doing hours and hours and days of activities, but they never count the number of good activities they have done. They never boast themselves, or they never tell others that, don't you see me, how much I have worked harder. And they don't say that. That's because they simply feel that this is the way they should be situated. Hanuman thought, I am Ramdas, I have no other business to do. This is my business. Mm. So here are some very good qualities of Hanuman that we can learn from. We will see here. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah, see how he is dealing with elders like Jambavan, with great respect. Mm. How did he deal with team leader Angada? He encouraged the team leader, Angada. How did he deal with friendly new people and comfort providers? I didn't tell you about the Swayam Prabha. Swayam Prabha's cave comes prior to this. Uh, Actually, there was a cave, Swayam Prabha's cave, where there's a yogini, and she is actually a friend of Hema. Hema is an Apsara. So Hema had a cave, mystical cave it is, and she gave it to her friend Swayam Prabha, who was meditating there. Swayam Prabha also is a mystical lady, uh, and that some of the monkeys in the forest were thirsty, hungry. There was no plants, no fruits, no water. They were about to die. That time they somehow entered into the Swayam Prabha's cave. uh, and actually, the nature of the cave is once you go in, you can't come out on your own. It is on a different plane. So they entered, and inside the cave there are beautiful lakes and ponds with lotuses and lilies and ducks and swans and beautiful creepers and trees with flowers and fruits and comforts and luxuries, like a royal palace. So the monkeys went in and ate all of that and drank all the beverages and had a good time. And even Tara said, "Oh, this is such a wonderful place. Let us live here forever. Sugriva will never come to know. Let's enjoy here and spend our life. Come on. Why to so go after searching for Sita? Ultimately, in this world, everybody wants comfort and enjoyment, and we are getting it here. What do you all say, monkeys?" Like the Tara asked. Angada said, well done, your thoughts are very nice. I was also thinking like that. Angada said, and Hanuman warned both of them. You guys, you don't know. Sugriva, with the help of Ram, Lakshman can find out where we are and he'll kill every one of us. Because we are all going on a mission. And if you forget the mission and get stupid in sense gratification, the goal is also not accomplished. And we also will become unworthy servants. This is not proper. We have eaten our fruits. You have drunk nice juices. Now he went and told Swayam Prabha, please kindly take us out of this cave. We have to proceed ahead. And Swayam Prabha blessed them and sent them out. Mhm. You see in this picture here below, right bottom corner, there is Swayam Prabha sitting, and Hanuman was the one who took lead. See how interesting this pastime is. Some people have come to ISKCON just for enjoying life. They think, just enjoy nice festivals, enjoy nice prasad, and take help from as many devotees as possible for whatever you want in life, all material facilities. But they will not do one fig of service to society. So therefore, somebody asked, ask not what the country has done for you. Ask what you have done for the country. Same thing you can say with ISKCON. Ask not what ISKCON has done for you. ISKCON has already done a lot for you. Ask what you have done for ISKCON, what I have done for Guru, what I have done for Vaishnavas, what I have done for Srila Prabhupada. You have to keep on asking, am I doing something for them? So Hanuman taught this also. So, and also, as you see here, uh, Hanuman, I mean, how did he deal with his friends? In a very friendly mood. He has a peer association with his friends. So we also should have very nice peer association with other fellow Vaishnavas. And a very joyful and natural and innocent relationship. No diplomacy, no cunning, or no fault finding, or backbiting or anything. Hanuman had a very simple and natural Preeti Lakshanam with all his friends. And he had prowess, but without pride. Even the boastful speeches that he did with the monkeys is just for fun to encourage them. Otherwise, Hanuman has not even an iota of pride. And also, he had devotion with dexterity. Now, the next section after entering Lanka is a very sweet section, but we may not find time to speak it this time. But another time I can speak elaborately on that. Because after Hanuman entered Lanka, there were many, many royal palaces. The very first person he encountered was Langini, who was guarding Lanka. And as soon as Hanuman entered Langini, actually Langini was always moving about in the gate, and she was very alert and attentive. She found that the some monkey has come in, who's a stranger. She asked, hey, who are you? And Hanuman said, I'm just a monkey. I just want to eat some fruits. I'm roaming about, to pick up some fruits from the trees. He said, you can't cheat me. You are not ordinary monkey. You have come from another place. You need to tell me who you are. And then she hit him. And then when she hit him with her right hand, and Hanuman hit her with his left hand, hard like that he hit her. And immediately she fell to the ground. Then Langini immediately got up and said, oh, monkey, now I understand. I had a dream long before that a monkey will come to Lanka, and when he slaps me and I fall to the ground, that is the day Ravana's destruction has started. Now it is actually a prophecy. Therefore, I will let you go in, she said. And then Hanuman went in, and he jumped from one building to another, second, third, fourth, fifth buildings, searching for Sita everywhere. He would go to one building without being noticed by anyone else, because on the top of the building, nobody could notice him. People are walking on the ground, Rakshasas. And many Rakshasas were in disguise also, in different forms. So Hanuman wanted to be very careful. And he would peep through the window and see that there were many, many ladies in the evening decorating themselves for receiving their husbands. So, and then as he went on to the palace of Ravana ultimately. From the top, he found a Pushpaka Viman. And from the Pushpaka Viman below, there was a hole, in the ceiling. From there, he saw, it was almost night. It was a moonlit night. And Hanuman was very sad. I couldn't find Sita anywhere. But from the top, when he looked down, there was a staircase going down. So then he got into the palace and came down the staircase, and he was watching very carefully. And Ravana was lying like this with his two hands on a very big bedstead. And he had a beautiful mukut, shining with a diamond, studded with diamond and everything, wearing many ornaments. And he looked very bright. And Lakshman saw, Hanuman saw him and said, oh, this is the personality, Ravana. And Hanuman immediately thought, he is a handsome person and very strong person. If only he was a devotee of the Lord, how glorious his life would have been. Like that Hanuman thought. Just see Hanuman, even while seeing a Rakshasa, he is thinking positively. If only he could be a devotee, how nice it will be. immediately the negative thought doesn't come in his mind. And then he saw many ladies lying on either side, and all of them are celestial beauties, earthly beauties, heavenly beauties, spotless beauties. Every limb of their body was delicately formed, not a iota of blemish in their bodies. Some lady was having a veena in the hand, and some ladies are having jal, some were having cymbals. They were having different instruments, and there were also drums which they have played. There were barrels of liquor. There were a lot of flesh pieces lying here and there. Uh, and and also Hanuman understood. It seems that they have danced and they have sung and they have drunk liquor and eaten meat, and now all are asleep now, sleeping at night. So Hanuman thought, will Sita be amongst these ladies? Uh, and then he saw separately one lady was looking very sober and elegant, lying in a crystal bedstead. And Hanuman was very happy. He caught hold of his tail and jumping up and down said, I found out Sita, very nice. This must be Sita, he said, because she is lying separately. Then he said to him, so this cannot be Sita, because Sita will not be inside the palace. She must be demanding Ravana to keep her somewhere away. So then he became very sad. Then he climbed up, went to the top, and now he started weeping actually, Hanuman. He really became very depressed that I searched for Sita everywhere. I couldn't find. What will I go and tell? If I tell Sugriva I couldn't find Sugriva, will die. Seeing Sugriva die, Rama will die, Lakshman will die, everybody will die. Better that I don't go. I remain like a mendicant here only, in Lanka only, all my life. And I'll spend my life searching for Sita, that's all. So at that time, he sang Lord Rama's names. So in that singing of Lord Rama's names, he gradually found great solace in that singing. Ramachandra Raghuvira, Ramachandra Ranadhira, Ramachandra Mama Bandho, Ramachandra Jaya Sindhu, Ramachandra Raghurama, Ramachandra Parandama, Ramachandra Raghuvira, Ramachandra Ranadhira, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram, Sri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Sri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. So singing the holy name repeatedly, Hanuman forgot the external world, became absorbed in the holy name, and suddenly Lord Rama gave an idea within his heart. Why should Sita be only inside the palace? She could also be somewhere outside, in the outdoor. And then Hanuman saw outside there was a mountain from where there was waterfalls coming down and coming and falling in a lake. And opposite to the lake was a tree. Uh, and just near the tree was a 1,000-pillar mandapam. So one by one he was seeing. And there under the moonlit night, he saw under the tree, there was a lady sitting with a yellow sari, draping her head, covering her head. And she was as brilliant as a moon. And her beauty matched with Ram's beauty. There was a resemblance of Ram's beauty in her. He could immediately understand this must be the lady whom I am searching. And this is the same person who is the sweetheart of Lord Rama, and who, for whom Rama constantly weeps. And at last I have found her. And she was surrounded by many Rakshasas and Rakshasis. And how Hanuman went gradually to the tree with a plan to get introduced to her, jumped from one tree to another tree. At last he climbed up the tree, on the same tree where Sita was sitting below. But then by the time it was early morning, Ravana had come with 100 maidservants to demand Sita to surrender to him. And I will leave it at that today. Another time, I will tell you what happened between the conversation between Sita and Hanuman. It's a very beautiful conversation, very important for Gaudiya Vaishnavas also, because how the internal potency deals with the Lord's devotees and reveals many confidential truths. And inspires the devotee to become better and better servant of the Supreme Lord. I will talk that another time. And today's session time won't permit. See here, one or two more headings here. Dealing with anarthas of the mind like depression, anger, etc. Hanuman did expertly. Dealing with dangerous, unexpected situations in Lanka also. Dealing with enemies. Lord, this is Langini. Bottom of the page you see, that is Langini actually. Yeah. So after meeting Langini, what he did and all, I will discuss in the next class. Another time, sometime in future. So Ramayana has so many important lessons for our lives, as you all watching today. So I can take one short question, maybe a couple of minutes. Or one point which you remember well today. Prabhu, was my whole talk uninterrupted and clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Very clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And these are very nice to think about as Ramayana and Ramanavami is approaching, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji. Very wonderful session.
Another time in future, sometimes I will speak on this. And that will take also an hour. Sita and Hanuman conversation. Lot of subtle, fine things to learn from that. We will talk another time. Yeah. I took this now because Ramanavami is coming soon. I thought it'll be well. We can also talk about Lord Rama and his four brothers and pastimes of Ram. And this pastime is very dear to me because Hanuman actually is representing a missionary worker for Lord Ram. So it will be very practically helpful for us. I will send this PPT across to Prajakar Prabhu, who will circulate all of you. Okay?
Sure, Prabhuji. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you all very
Thank
much.
you so much. Many, many wonderful
I will
points.
recite one shloka and complete the class. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. So Lord Rama is glorified by Dasharatha as Rama and by his three mothers as Ramachandra and by Brahmanas of Ayodhya as Ramabhadra and Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya and by Vishwamitra and Vasishtha he is called as Vedase, the source of all the Vedic wisdom. And all the soldiers of the army call him as Raghunatha because Lord Rama descends in the Raghukula dynasty, Raghu's dynasty, Raghunatha. And all the four great devotees of Ram, like Vanaras, like Sugriva or Vibhishan, Guha, they all would treat Rama as Natha. Natha means our master. They will not come near. From a distance, they will be affectionate to him and respectful to him, but will be shy to come near. So they would call him as Natha. And Sitaya Pataye Namaha was the term called by the Ayodhya ladies. For them, Lord Rama was husband of Sita. Like they would call him. So in this way, each of them addressed Rama. So I will repeat it. You all can remember who said what. Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. So we'll pray to Lord Rama that just as he himself exemplified ideal human life, how we should live in this world, he teaches how to be a good brother, how to be a good son, how to be a good husband, how to be a good master, how to be noble in qualities. And every limb, every small aspect of Ramayana is fully replete with instructions for our daily life. So during this time, you all can read Ramayana from different sections and absorb your consciousness and learn. And that will help us very greatly in our devotion to the divine couple, Shri Radha and Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. A lot of practical lessons for us. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.